Welcome to the Goatee Sports Page. Coming to you live from the Blue Tick Tavern in Maryville and 105.1 FM. Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Bringing you the best in local sports since 1978. Featuring the Greenfield Gunner, Mike Edwards, former Maryville Scot, Donnie Moore, former UT coach, Ray Trail, from the Daily Times, Marcus Fitzsimmons, and Troy Pro O'Haron.
Hello, everybody, and greetings from the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. I'm Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, along with Donnie Moore, Troy Provo Heron, Marcus Fitzsimmons, and Coach Ray Trail, and this is the Goatees Sports Page. The Tennessee football scoring machine heads to Columbia, South Carolina, and we're going to the whistle blows. And now let's set today's lineup card, sponsored by Blunt Partnership. It's the University of Tennessee Sports Report, sponsored by the Cherokee Group, followed by the Klein Dental Arts SEC Notebook, with volunteer football coaching legend Ray Trail, Daily Times sports editor Troy Provo Heron, and veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons. Today, we'll talk some UT basketball and set the stage for the UT South Carolina football matchup. Carson Newman assistant football coach Tony Aruli will be joining us. Donnie Moore will announce the high school scores from around the area, and then Mark It Down with Marcus Fitzsimmons, sponsored by Mandy B. Street Realty, features the Herman Ramsey Sportsmanship Awards for this year. Daily Times sports editor Troy Provo Heron presents the Anderson Lumber Company High School Player of the Week segment. Today, Troy talks some Maryville College football. Donnie Moore and the panel discuss sports headlines from around the country before the Tennessee Smoky Spotlight shines on the latest from the college football playoff rankings and the race for the Heisman Trophy. And finally, the panel gives their Shelter Insurance college football predictions for the week. And now it's time for the UT Sports Report, sponsored by the Cherokee Group and the Klein Dental Arts SEC Notebook, featuring former UT football coach Ray Trail, Daily Times sports editor Troy Provo Heron, and Marcus Fitzsimmons. Carson Newman assistant football coach Tony Aruli is here with us. Last Sunday, the number 11 ranked Tennessee Vol basketball team traveled to Nashville, Tennessee to take on the Colorado Buffaloes, and the Volunteers came out on the short end of the stick, 78-66. It was the first big test for this basketball team starting the year, and it did not turn out so well, Troy. They couldn't hit it. They couldn't throw it in the ocean. I mean, were the windows open down there? Was it cold? What was the deal? They shot 25.4% from the field, 16 for 63, 10 for 37 from three-point shots, 27%. You ask me, that's the story right there pretty much.
It seems to be like it's something that happens early in the season, like the last few years here for Tennessee, and I think there is a little bit more cause for concern this year than there was last year or the year before, and just the fact that I don't know that they have that many guys you trust to hit shots, or at least haven't proven it at the college level. Santiago Vescovi's not going to get open as much as he wants to because defenses know that he's their best shooter, and so they're going to follow him around all over the place and make it difficult for him. And who Tennessee finds to step up outside of him is going to be big, and I don't know if they have that answer yet.
Yeah, well, Marcus, what kept them around in the basketball game really was free throw shooting. They were 24 for 30. They went to the line 30 times. They shot 80% there. But turnovers, 19 turnovers to go with the bad shooting, that didn't go well either from that end of it.
It didn't help. It didn't help that the defense didn't show up late. I think we saw them improve on it as the week went along afterwards, but I think Troy's right. Tennessee usually has to have a wake-up call game before they really start focusing in. And when you've got this many young guys, at least they did one thing right, and that was they went to the free throw line, got to the line, and hit them when they got there, but because they weren't hitting anything else. So that was about the only option they had.
Yeah. Coach Trail, they were out-rebounded 47-38, so if you look back on this deal, they didn't shoot very well. They got outshot. They had more turnovers than Colorado, and they were out-rebounded. Outside of free throw shooting, there wasn't much really to hang your hat on. There was really no defensive intensity. I think that's what upset Coach Barnes more than anything else. There was really no intensity at all on the defensive end, and that's really uncharacteristic for his basketball team.
I tell you what, that was a disappointing game. And throughout the game and watching it, I didn't see anybody take control of that game. It was like we come down and throw it to this guy, throw it to that guy. You know, we just do this, and we had no control of that game. And you know, you would think that with, I don't know, it was kind of like the girls in a way, that, you know, they went out there, they read all the clippings, and they're picked high, and get out there and do nothing.
There was no urgency. There was no urgency at all. They played the basketball game, and we're going to talk about the girls here in a second, but they played the last part of that basketball game against Colorado pretty much like they played the first 5 minutes of the ball game. I mean, there was no intensity at all, no step up right there at the end of the game, and I know that had to be very concerning, you know, to Coach Barnes going to Nashville, really kind of a home game for Tennessee. But give Colorado credit. They got beat by Grambling State before they came in here, and they could have just laid down. But, boy, they took it right to Tennessee, shot 43.5% from the field. And, Tony, they picked up a big win.
Yeah, and in the last several years, though, that's kind of how Tennessee's basketball has started off. They're just very slow, very methodical. Then, like you said earlier, all of a sudden they seem to get a wake-up call after about the 7th, 8th game of the year, and they try to pick it up.
Yeah, Uros Plavsic got hurt early. Troy, that was, I think, a big factor. That took away some inside, some bodies inside there, and hurt them. But they bounced back against Gulf Coast. I want to say junior college, because when I was playing, Gulf Coast was a junior college. But they've found the money to go 4 years and put together a basketball team, and Tennessee got back on the winning track there Wednesday night, 81-50. I'm sure the practice sessions after that Sunday game were
a lot more intense.
Yeah, he kind of threw the book at Ziegler.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know what he did there. I told some people maybe he threatened to take his mother's house away. I don't know what he did, but he played better Wednesday night, did not Troy?
He did, played much better, and he gave them kind of that spark that he gave them last year, and they're going to need that, whether he come off the bench or be a starter.
Yeah, well, they're heading to the Bahamas now, and they've got
must be nice.
What a bad, tough deal.
You going?
Yeah, they
no,
play.
I'm not, I wish.
Better than heading to Buffalo.
They're heading the right direction.
Definitely a good call on that one.
They're heading in the right direction. Anyway, they got Butler November the 23rd. That's a 7:30 game, and I saw Butler play the other night against Penn State at Penn State. Stayed right with Penn State for about 3/4 of the game on the road. Thad Matta is back at Butler. He coached at Ohio State. So he's got them playing, pretty good, pretty high level of intensity. So we'll see what happens in that game, and then the winner will play either BYU or Southern California on Thanksgiving Day, the 24th, and I think there will be a game on the 25th. So I think there's a three-game deal there in the island there in Bahamas. So the battle for Atlantis. So. And then they're back for three. They're back, Coach Trail, for 3 cupcakes after that. You got to play the tough ones, and then you got to come back for the cupcakes. And then we got, I think, Maryland thrown in there after that, and a couple strong teams. But
who are the cupcakes that they have?
I don't know.
No idea.
McNeese State, one of them.
McNeese State is right after Battle for Bahamas. I know that.
Eastern Kentucky's in that.
Eastern Kentucky.
And there's one more, but slipped my mind. But,
soft.
Alcorn State. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's it.
If I were them, I'd just try to stay in the Bahamas as long as I possibly can.
Yeah, you might get to liking it over there. And it must be a good place to go because the Lady Vols are headed there too, Troy.
Again, lucky for them.
Yeah, they're headed there. Let's talk about the Lady Vols.
Please do it.
They played number 11 Indiana. Number 11 Indiana the other night, and boy, they had all kinds of trouble. Indiana, I don't know. I think Tennessee led 3-0, and that was about it. But Indiana shot 28 for 63, 44% from the field, and 15 for 18 at the free throw line, 83.3%, and 8 for 29 on 3-point. Only turned the ball over 10 times. Coach Trail,
that's the answer.
My takeoff. Tennessee didn't shoot real well from the floor. They were 39%. They had 15 turnovers, but they just didn't. They weren't very aggressive inside. We talked about this. The big player inside, she had a girl on her about 6'2" or 6'3". Mm-hmm. She got 14 points, but you would have thought she would have just dominated inside. But Indiana, this is just me talking. They look like a well-coached basketball team. They didn't turn the ball over very much. They took good shots. They took good shots on the outside. They picked up some great offensive fouls right there in the last 4 or 5. Played real smart. I just think they were the better basketball team the other night.
I
huh?
mean, it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. And the things that you have to do, we didn't do. I mean, we just didn't get rebounds. We act like we were just kind of a practice game. You know, I mean, it was just. And I think another thing is, these people get, just like the boys, in the off season, we signed all these guys that are supposed to be so good, and everybody waits for somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it looks like it's you shoot.
Yep.
But there's no.
Yep.
To me, in basketball, and I'm not a basketball coach, and I don't claim to be one, but you got to have 5 guys out there that play together and know each other and everything. And when you substitute all the time, you're constantly changing that rotation. You know, I just think you got to play 5 guys that have really got to go play together.
Yep.
And then you have 1 or 2 that comes off the bench and subs in, but you can't just keep running people out there and get any consistency in your offense. I mean, I just don't understand that. Why they think they got to rotate all these people in. I just need 5. You know, that's all I need.
Yeah.
And I don't know why we think we got to play 10, 15 guys or whatever it is. I don't make sense to me.
I thought one of the big stats was Indiana being outside. They were out-rebounded the Lady Vols, Troy, and I thought that was a big but I thought Tennessee missed some key free throws down the stretch. You know, some front ends of one-on-one, went to the line, missed 2 free throws at times. Just didn't do the things they needed. Well, they just looked like, if you're comparing the men's game over the weekend and the girl, looked like they's dating each other, huh? Because they all
Very similar.
Yeah, they look like they all. Hey, let's just go out. You know, we
have
just
fun.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know. But Marcus. Indiana, 5 players in double figures. All 5 players double figures for Indiana.
Yeah, a lot was working right for Indiana. And, you know, every one of the problems you just went through, it wasn't like we didn't see them in the win against UMass. It was just that it was UMass and not Indiana. All the Tennessee's warts were still there. They just couldn't, against a quality opponent, those things were not going to get you a win.
Yeah.
They were going to beat you. And the fact that we're seeing it basically in a 3-game stretch with the same issues is more of a concern than if it's not a blip on the radar when you've got 3 straight games.
Yeah. Jordan Horston, again, did not play, and so that was a big factor, I think, also for her, for the team and for her. She needs to get back in there, but it's early. You know, last year they started off slow. Coach Trail, remember, Troy threw him under the bus after about 3 or 4 games.
You haven't given me the opportunity to throw him back
he had
under
the bus, and next thing you know, they just turned it around. So they're waiting on Troy to throw him under the bus again so they can get going.
Start now.
I'm at the 3-point line, and I'm clapping my hands. I'm open. I got some buses to throw him under.
Yeah.
If you want me to go, just tell me to go.
Yeah. Well, they're in Paradise Island, the Bahamas, too, for the women's battle for Atlantis. They're going to be playing today, Saturday the 19th. That's the day they're going to play at 12 o'clock.
I'll tell you what,
Rutgers.
they lose a few of these games. Might need to leave Kelly Harper in the Bahamas.
And Rutgers, traditionally, Coach Trail's had a pretty good program, women's program up at Rutgers.
They've always had a good program up there. Who was the lady, Vivian Stringer?
Yeah,
she the coach
Hall of Fame coach up there.
Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah.
They always had a good team, and their basics were really good.
Yeah.
You got to do in basketball, and I'm no basketball coach, and I'm not, but you got to do the basics in any sport. You know, if football, baseball, don't matter. You got to do these things to win.
Fundamentals.
And
I'm just impressed that Ray New, the former basketball coach at
that
Rutgers.
is true. I was proud. That was
good.
awesome.
Huh?
That was great that you knew that.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
How the heck? That
Usually
just came out just like
Usually
that.
your memory recall isn't that good. You're getting older, but that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, she's been out of the game
Women's
for a while.
Women's Hall of Fame coach at Rutgers. You knew exactly who that was.
I surprise myself sometimes.
Holy smokes.
Mike, you know what should be fundamental? Your 6'6" center getting more than 3 rebounds. That should be fundamental.
Yeah, you would think.
That should be automatic.
Yeah.
Embarrassing.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's talk some football. You know, we got let's talk a little football. Everybody's excited around here about the football team. We got the rankings going on, and we got a couple of games left, and then we can just kind of sit back and watch everybody else play. And they're playing a little bit tougher competition than we're playing. Things are looking pretty good, really, for Tennessee. But last Saturday, Coach Iruli, I'll start with you. They dismantled Missouri 66-24, and that game was 28-24 at one point, and then they just put it in the next gear and said,
42.
Said, see you later.
First, I appreciate you guys inviting me. You know, I was really concerned coming back here about Ray, because I knew that he was really upset not getting the Taylor Swift tickets, and I know he's in emotional distress right now. So this is me giving my support to Ray, saying, "Hang in there, Ray. All right, you know there's still a chance."
She'll come back to Knoxville one day.
Yeah. We're going to throw in 2 Leanne Morgan tickets in place of those. She'll be here in April, so we'll throw those 2 in.
I thought I saw him being interviewed, you know, just crying and shaking. But we'll get back to football.
Yeah. Tony, Ray shook it off.
He shook it off.
Yeah.
Shook it off, Ray.
Yeah. Well,
see what you did.
School record 724 points against Missouri.
Yards.
And, yards.
If they scored 724, I don't think Elijah Drinkwitz would
Well,
still be the coach.
let me correct it. It felt like 724 points, but 724 yards.
Yeah, you know, got to 28-24, then UT scored the next 42 points. And then
But you know, that was expected, was it? You know, I mean, Missouri's not a good football team.
No.
But I tell you, the one that really knocked me over was Kentucky getting beat by Vanderbilt.
Oh,
how in the world did that happen?
Kentucky.
I mean, I saw the replay.
Hey, they're still saying, well, Levis is a top 5 pick. They're saying the quarterback's still a top 5 pick in the draft. He can't beat Vanderbilt. That kid is going to be stealing money.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I believe the worst.
Yeah, I watched the replay on it, and it was a struggle just even watching that.
I mean, I could, when I turned it on and I watched it, I said, something is wrong here. I mean, they look like.
Hey, those people left that stadium and they were going, now when is our first basketball
Basketball
game?
game.
How many days is it to the Kentucky Derby? We need to start moving forward here a little bit.
Yeah.
And Mike, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So last year, after Tennessee scored 62 on Missouri, Elijah Drinkwitz didn't really like that they scored that many points, and so he filed it away for this year.
Yeah, he showed them.
They scored 66, and I guess he probably didn't like that they were scoring late, and so he filed it away for next year. So
he's got big filing cabinets.
Does that mean Tennessee's going to score 70 on Missouri next year? Because this guy, every time he files something away, gives up more points.
Yeah.
He probably needs to do a better
and
job
you know,
at that.
going in, Marcus, you know, the defense was really their strong point. They weren't giving up about 16 points a game.
The defense coordinator just got a 2-year contract renewal. It's a good thing they did it before the game.
Well, I hope he didn't sign that. If I'm the university, I was saying, hey, did you sign that?
Yeah, he signed it.
Don't do it. We'd null that because you're not as good as we thought you were.
Yeah.
Well, but you look at them, though. I mean, remember what they did to Georgia.
Yeah.
They stopped Georgia. They stalled Georgia. Georgia had to struggle to score against that and pull out a win there.
Exactly.
How that was the same defensive unit that we saw on the field, I have no idea. It looked like somebody taking their uniforms and tied those guys up, left them on the bus.
And that's why it's so hard to figure teams out sometimes. You know, you see them play great against Georgia, all right, and say, well, they got a really good defense. Let's give that defensive coordinator a new 2-year contract. Then a week or two later, they play Tennessee, and they give up 42 points in the last quarter and a half, and just, you know, they're saying, why did we give them that contract?
And if you're Missouri's offense, you've struggled all year. You didn't really play that bad. And the one time you finally get something pulled together offensively, especially in that first half, they weren't great in the second half. But you figure it out in the first half, and you're looking around and you're saying, this is the defense that was supposed to help win us this game. And they were getting shredded right now.
Yeah, Missouri was 5 for 17 on third downs. You know, that was a big factor, too. They couldn't keep possession of the ball right there when they needed to. No. Hendon Hooker, 28 for 38, 460 yards. Marcus, he didn't hurt any of his resume for the Heisman Trophy against Missouri.
You know, he didn't, and I'm a little tired of hearing some of the other experts out there on the air. Not that we're resident experts, but saying, oh, well, you know, if he really wanted the Heisman, they should have left him in there, let him throw for some more touchdowns. They shouldn't have gone to – if that's what's deciding the votes for the Heisman, then he really shouldn't be all that excited about it. If it's coming down to whether you get 2 garbage touchdowns against Missouri is whether or not they're going to vote for you.
Yeah.
Give your vote to a cornerback at Michigan.
I think what's going to happen with the Heisman Trophy is it's going to boil down to the Ohio State-Michigan game. You know, if Stroud, C.J. Stroud, has a big game against Michigan and they go undefeated and they win the Big Ten title, I think Stroud gets the Heisman. I really do. Now, whether he's deserving or not, I think that's where we're at on it. But hopefully that won't take place. Hendon Hooker will go in there. I think he's much deserving of being the Heisman. I'm not arguing that fact, but I'm just arguing that he's not in the championship game. Lost that opportunity by one game.
Yep.
Could be in the playoffs, but the Heisman's going to be decided before the playoffs.
You know that CBS or whoever's covering it this year has got to be like, let this guy at least come to New York because we can fill up an hour pregame show with just his highlight reel.
Right.
There's more splash plays in one game with him than you've got with most of the other favorites for the whole season.
Yeah. Coach Trail, let's talk about Tennessee in the last 6 minutes of the football game. They scored and went up 59-24, and then they came back out through the 65-yard pass or whatever down to the 3-yard line with, I don't know, a minute and change to go in the game, and then they decided to run it, and they got stopped, and then they ran it again and tried to score and run it to 66. Your take on that? My take is that the difference between 59 and 66, impressing somebody is not that much. Take the knee, show some class, go to the locker room.
I agree with you 100%.
You guys are wrong.
Why should the second and third team guy not be allowed to get a touchdown?
Yeah.
Because it was 59. They did. They got them a touchdown. It was 59 points.
Well,
I'll tell you what.
I watched the end of the game, and they brought in the backup quarterback.
They brought in the whole backup offense, backup offensive line, and everything.
The 66-yard pass. I mean, it was just really like a little slant route where Missouri just blew the coverage and ran it all the way down there. And I would have taken a knee down the goal line, but still, I mean, the offense. Run your offense because I was real impressed with the backup quarterback that came back.
Here's the thing. Yeah, at some point, you have to run your offense because you have to get guys ready. Well, we talk about this all the time in depth and situations. The only way to do that is to actually run your offense when it's out there. Those guys don't get anything from going out there. And the second thing is that was Missouri's first-team defense. You're a top 15 defense. If you don't like the second-team defense going down the field and scoring on you, stop them.
Let me get to the next question because you're just wanting to beat somebody 100-0. That's your mentality.
Hey, that's your defense.
Let's say that this shoe's on the other foot, and Missouri's up 59-24 against Tennessee, and they pull that deal.
My opinion
Coach
doesn't
Trail,
change.
you know the fans around here, how are they going to take that deal now? It's okay right now the way it turned out, but how are they going to take it on the other foot?
They would have been throwing things as they came off the field.
Well, there's an old saying in football: "What goes around comes around."
Yes.
And if you stay out there long enough.
But this was it coming around. Remember this. Josh Heupel's offensive coordinator did this to Tennessee 2 years in a row when he was at Missouri.
Well, I don't know.
Missouri ran up 60 points on UT
I don't know if they were beating Tennessee that bad to do that.
They ran. They were up 62-21 when Heupel was at Missouri.
You got to score the points, and if you
I would have personally. I think. Running the offense, I got no problem with. I think I would have taken a knee down at the 2-yard line and just saying, "Hey, it's done and over with." But running the offense,
it's almost more disrespectful to take a knee on the 1-yard line.
Coach Trail, these two guys just want to run up a score. They've not played in the Southeastern Conference, and they've not been out there. But Coach Trail and I have, and you're saying, well, that coach at Missouri, he's filed that back in the back of his head. Let me tell you something. Every coach in the Southeastern Conference filed that in the back of their head, what they did in that football game right there at the end of it. It wasn't just Missouri. And you're all sitting here thinking, well, we got Hendon Hooker, and we can just drill everybody. But Hendon Hooker's going to be gone, and he's going to be a thing in the past here in the next few years.
And
you're going to have somebody else in there. And you're thinking, well, we got a backup quarterback. He's really playing well. But he's playing out there under no pressure right now. He's playing when you're ahead by 7 touchdowns.
Mike, tell me, we've gone through this period where Tennessee has not been good. How many times do you remember somebody taking a knee at the one for Tennessee? I don't remember Nick Saban crying and saying, "You know what, y'all are having a bad year."
I can't remember anybody.
I don't remember that happening.
I can't remember anybody running up a score against
Tennessee. I don't
Tennessee.
remember this gentleman's agreement happening in the last 10 years.
If they ran up a score, they were running the football. But everybody that I saw, most teams in this league, if it gets in a situation like I guess Saturday, they take a knee. That's what I've seen.
I have not seen Nick Saban or Lane Kiffin team take a knee.
The thing is, you go back to Tennessee when Georgia was ahead 23-6.
Right. They called the dogs off.
They called the dogs off totally.
Quick.
Good for Georgia.
They just ran the ball.
Yeah, they just ran the ball there
right.
and ran the clock out.
Right.
Don't have to
What if
hold-
he'd have
don't
gone to
have to hold me
halftime
your
and said,
standard.
what
I
if
don't
he'd
care
have gone
about
to
that.
halftime and said, okay, we're gonna just beat the living we're gonna throw the ball. We're gonna continue to try to score. No, they just
you
ran
just
the ball.
remember what I said.
And if they would have done that, and if they would have done that and thrown 3 picks across the football game,
In
they
about
were an idiot.
2 years when Tennessee's back at Missouri and there's a change.
Now
and
next year,
Yeah.
Tennessee's hooker's gone. They got a new quarterback. And if they beat them like that, they'll say, they shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
You've beat them. You know you're going to score. Everybody in the stadium knew you're going to score.
You're darn right.
You don't have to prove it. Take a knee, show some class, get off the field. That's
right.
just my own opinion.
Well, it looked like they had a little talk after the game at the 50-yard line, and they ended up hugging
Right.
each other or whatever. So
Right.
I don't know
guess.
what the conversation was
Whatever.
like.
Yeah. Okay.
Everyone feel better now?
Yeah, I guess so. All the young guys here, they think, hey, beat them 100-0.
Yeah.
Let's go after them.
Stick it to them.
Well, they've never coached.
Stick it to them.
They've never played.
Stick it to them.
They've never played. They've never coached. Don't
Well,
pay any attention.
But 3
to
or
them.
4 years from now, if something
That's
like that
right.
happens against anybody else in
Oh,
this
yeah.
league, and somebody comes back, well, you all did that against
yeah.
Missouri. Just shut up.
And I'll be okay with. And I'll be okay with that.
You will. I bet you won't. You'll be the 1st
be-
one on this
I'll-
show.
I'll be okay
Say,
with
hey,
that.
running up a score against us.
But what do you?
Yeah.
This is
taking
a new
advantage
age.
of us.
This is a new age. You have to have players happy because if they're not, there's a transfer portal. And they
Okay.
can hit the door. So if you're going to develop talent, you got to give a reward to those freshmen and sophomores
Okay.
for them to stick around.
All right. I got it.
Well,
Hey.
that was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Time to turn the page. Next up is the local scoreboard with Donnie Moore and Mark It Down with featuring Marcus Fitzsimmons. You're listening to the Goatee Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
This holiday season, we're grateful for another year of helping you, our members, grow financially. Thank you for choosing us and for allowing us to serve you and help you live better lives. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from all of us at Knoxville TBA Employees Credit Union. We look forward to serving you in 2023.
Knoxville TVA Employees Credit Union. Join us now.
Federally insured by NCUA.
Since 1925, Anderson Lumber in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. But did you know Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store? You can stop in anytime and see our incredible kitchen showroom. From floors to cabinets and everything in between, Anderson Lumber's experts can help you design your dream kitchen. And then our install team will make it a reality. For anything home, we welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber, since 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
We all want our loved ones to be safe. Denso in Maryville is at the forefront of creating technology for safer vehicles. Join the automotive industry with Denso in a fast, challenging, clean, and safe environment. They offer great benefits and competitive pay, as well as a convenient on-site healthcare facility, cafes, fitness center, and more. Start your future now. Entry-level production positions start at $16 an hour for second or third shift. Visit densocareers.com/Maryville to learn more and apply. Merlin's Music World in Maryville is owned and operated by Dylan Davis and has been a fixture in Maryville since 1987. Guitars, amplifiers, lessons, sound system, and video system installations are products available at Merlin's. Merlin's also offers a 24-track digital recording studio featuring audio engineer Rusty Chambers. Visit Merlin's at 1920 East Lamar Alexander Parkway or call 977-0093. The Blue Tick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Or sink your teeth into our one-of-a-kind chicken and bacon pizza, made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon, red onions, and covered in Brussels petals. The Blue Tick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Blue Tick Tavern, located at 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville.
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards along with the rest of our broadcast crew, and now it's time for the local scoreboard with Donnie Moore, sponsored by Mandy B Street Realty. Donnie, golly, we got a couple of teams here moving on in football, high school football.
We do, Mike.
Yeah.
And the list of local scores is getting shorter in football. Like you said, we got a couple moving on, and but the home games have come to an end in Blount County.
And the good thing, it didn't snow last night.
That's true. At least we weren't in Buffalo.
It's 20-some degrees, but it didn't snow.
It was cold last night. It was chilly in Blount County last night, but you're right. At least it didn't snow. Yeah. Let's look at our scores in the high school football playoffs. The quarterfinals last night in the TSSAA playoffs. In our 3A playoffs last night, Alcoa hosted Gatlinburg-Pittman in a rematch of an earlier season matchup. Alcoa hosted Gatlinburg-Pittman, and is almost an identical score from earlier in the season. Gatlinburg-Pittman came to Goddard Field last night, and Alcoa jumped on them early, hard and fast, hot and heavy last night. Tornadoes played an excellent defense and looked good on offense too. Final score in that one was 56-21 in favor of the Tornadoes. Alcoa played really well, Marcus.
Yeah, and it was a really eerily similar to the regular season meeting.
It was.
Even though GP showed some different things and looked a lot better in some regards, it did not really matter. Alcoa did not give them a chance.
No.
And they took an early lead. They made GP one-dimensional, and yes, GP put up 21, but it was against the second and third string defense.
It was on Alcoa's 2s and 3s.
And,
you're right.
We're going to lead into it, but it's become the Black Friday tradition here. We're going to have high school football from the state semifinals, and when you've been doing it, and we've had one team or the other playing in semifinals for 23 years, you got to think that it's because we have whole generations that don't know that that's not part of the Friday after Thanksgiving.
True that. You're right, and like you said, it's going to continue the tradition. Alcoa next week travels to Giles County in Pulaski, Tennessee. It's a long trip, almost 4 hours. You have to go almost to Nashville and turn south, right on the Alabama border. And Giles County beat Sweetwater last night, 24-13. And could be a test for the Tornadoes. You never know.
It'll be an interesting matchup because of their location. We haven't seen or heard much about them.
No.
We know some of the tradition of the program. All I can say is when you're going, leave early.
Yes.
Because I will guarantee you, no matter what TDOT does for the holiday weekend, there's still going to be traffic jams.
Holiday traffic.
And you're going to
be murder.
You're going to get both sides of that Nashville traffic trying to get over there and then get south.
Indeed. But Alcoa 56, Gatlinburg-Pittman 21 last night in the 3A quarterfinals. Congratulations.
That was a Gatlinburg-Pittman team that only lost one game.
Yeah, both teams were 11-1.
So you take Alcoa out of that scenario, and they're probably moving on, in the state. So,
and that's been true of several GP teams.
Oh yeah, I think Loudon. They had Loudon. I think last year that only had lost one game.
Right.
And
you never know. Alcoa is a formidable foe.
Absolutely.
For the Highlanders. They brought a pretty good crowd last night. And congratulations to the Highlanders on a good season.
You just don't want to be a school that has a convenient abbreviation in this side of the bracket in 3A because whether you're CAK or GP, you're just going to run into Alcoa every single time.
Every time. That's true. But congratulations to Alcoa for getting to move on, although they do have to travel next week. Good luck to them. On the 6A, in the 6A category last night in the classification, Maryville faced Science Hill at home, and Science Hill didn't put up much of a battle.
Well, I thought they did, and I thought it was very
Yeah.
similar to their regular season game. It was a non-region game back in week 4, but I thought it was very similar that Science Hill hung around and made it interesting and made Maryville win it. It wasn't like Maryville won this going away. They went out and earned it.
That's right. They had to earn it. They did. Ended up winning 38-14. But the Rebels have been playing good football lately.
Well, the thing that really impressed me last night was the main offensive weapon that got them past Science Hill the first time was not available.
No.
And it was next person up.
Gage Ledoux.
Maryville, I thought the difference between the two games, Maryville has adjusted to who they are, and I think Derek's done a good job with this.
Mm-hmm.
The first time we were seeing them going to some of those plays that they have worked for them the last 2 or 3 seasons and being a little riskier. Last night, Maryville just ground it out. If it was, they weren't taking a second and short and heaving it down the field. They were trying for something. They were working efficiently to get first downs. They weren't trying to splash people like they have been in the past. And it's made Maryville a better team because their drives are longer, their thirds are shorter, and they're just being more efficient with it.
Well,
now whether that helps them next week going to Oakland.
That's true, and you mentioned that, and Maryville does travel to Oakland next week, who beat Murfreesboro Blackman 48-23. So Oakland's scoring some points.
Oakland's always scoring some points.
do.
They are a very good team, and there's a reason that most people have them atop as one of the best teams in the state across all classifications.
Right. And they just, Oakland just puts another bullet in the chamber every year. And they just reload and carry on.
Well,
it'll be a tough matchup.
I mean, it's some of the things we can say about the programs here, but you've got a program that had 4 Division I signees after last season, and you're thinking, oh well, there's going to be a drop off. Well, there wasn't much of a drop off.
No.
I mean, they've got a sophomore and they've got a guy at quarterback that are just. If they weren't on people's recruiting radar at the beginning of the year, they are now.
This is true.
Well, they were only up 14-9 on Blackman at the half last night.
That's right.
And that's like Maryville and Alcoa playing in the state quarterfinals. That is a backyard game, and it is a Murfreesboro game, and nobody's giving anything in that one.
Exactly. And this is another situation. If you take Murfreesboro, Oakland out of the scenario, then Maryville's probably got them in a 1 or 2 more state championships too, having to go through that.
They get another couple of gold balls anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. You're right. But congratulations so far to Maryville for rebounding off of their losses and coming back and playing well.
Yeah, without their running back.
If they planned it right, they could actually do a little bit of a convoy out of this because Maryville's going to have to do the same thing. They're going to go up 40, get on 840, go down and catch 24. But Maryville and Alcoa could just, maybe they could share transportation. Alcoa could pick them up on the way back up from Pulaski.
Well, congratulations to both of our fine area teams on great seasons so far. We'll see how it plays out. We had some national letters of intent signed this week. Abby Barron from William Blount signed with Walters State Community College for her softball career. She was going to continue her softball career and her academic career. Walters State is in Morristown, and they are the Senators, so congratulations to Abby. Reese Pride, also of William Blount, signed with Covenant College this week to continue his basketball and academic career. Covenant College is just across the state line in Lookout Mountain, Georgia. It's a private college. They are the Scots. They're D3. So
They share a couple of the conference ties with Maryville College.
Yeah, they do. So that's a couple from William Blount. Melanie Morris from Heritage signed with East Tennessee State University and continue her academic and sports career with her volleyball career. So she's congratulations to Melanie. And Jalen Halliburton from Alcoa signed with Milligan University to play softball and continue her academic career there. Milligan College is in the town of, you guessed it, Milligan College, Tennessee, near Elizabethton. In fact, it's in Elizabethton, but they call it Milligan College, Tennessee.
They have their own postal address. I've always thought that was a unique situation.
Yeah. And they are the Buffaloes, and they are NAIA.
Well, you know, once upon a time, buffaloes were thick across these mountains.
This is true. Yeah. Stop trains. Congratulations to those fine athletes, fine local athletes. All right, that's it for the Mandy B Street Realty local scoreboard. And now we'll segue to veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons for his Mark It Down. I'll remind you that you're listening to WKCE 105.1 FM and 1180 AM Mid-Century Radio. Marcus, take it away.
Well, Donnie, we're kind of sticking with the same thing. This is a local scoreboard, and we're just taking a little different take on it here. We're going to do some presentations. It's become a proud part of the sports page that we've been able to do this and bring some of these representatives and do them live and give them some attention here. But it's time for the Sportsmanship Awards to come out. And we have, well, guys, I kind of think it would be better if I just turn this over to you instead of stealing any thunder away. I'm going to let you guys go ahead and do the presentation. We're going to be presenting the high school award and the middle school award today, and we've got some representatives from those teams here. So I'm going to ask everybody to go ahead and put your headphones on and get your mic in place, and I'm going to turn it over for the presentation, let you all describe the award and who your winners are.
We had Blount County had officials at West High School last night, and we're supposedly having a state championship game this year. So
good deal.
Yeah.
That's an honor.
Yeah, sure is. Sure is.
It'll be done right, I know.
Yeah, it will. Back in 1991, believe it or not, I've been around that long, Herman Ramsey passed away.
He did indeed.
We
all miss Herman.
All these young people don't know who Herman was. Herman was one of the best referees I've ever worked with, but he also had a good time.
He sure did.
Real good time. One game he went out when the Jackson 5 and wore a white glove on his hand during a football game.
I remember that incident.
But we decided to do this in Herman's honor. First time we did it was in 1991, and Von Orr High School won it then. You don't know where that was because it's not around anymore. But the presentation, it's the Herman L. Ramsey Annual Sportsmanship Award, and this year it goes to Greenback. And this young man is here taking Jessica's place today.
Yeah,
Rick Sandlin. So, Rick, on behalf of the Blount County Officials Association, well-reserved award to Greenback.
Thank you. We appreciate that. We appreciate Blount County officials taking care of us during the season and recognizing the hard work that Ethan Edmondson and his staff has put forth to project good sportsmanship across the board. And so we appreciate it so much.
Okay, you're welcome, more than welcome.
Thank you.
And now I'm going to let Jerry Barnes, the Paul W. Gilley Sportsmanship Award to the middle schools.
Yeah, so the Paul W. Gilley Sportsmanship Award was created in 2010 to honor Mr. Gilley. And, you know, he was a football official and a fixture, and a football official and basketball official for 52 years, but a fixture in the community for much longer than that.
Much longer.
And this is kind of special to me because a lot of the coaches do not remember Mr. Gilley and all. And so this is, the third time, Jay, that Maryville Junior High's won it. And so Jay Malone knows Mr. Gilley, and he knows anything associated with Paul Gilley is steeped in integrity and it means a lot. And I think to him on a personal level, probably means a whole lot more than it would to someone else. Not that they don't respect it, but it just has that added little extra something. So with that, with the Blount County Football Officials Association, would like to present the Paul W. Gilley Sportsmanship Award for 2022 to Maryville Junior High.
Outstanding. We appreciate that award. And like you said, Jerry, anything associated with Mr. Gilley means a lot to me because I remember him well. I remember having many conversations with him, and he was the epitome of class, integrity, sportsmanship. So for anything associated with him and my coaches and players, I got Colton Faust here with us today. He was one of our starting wide receivers and D-backs, could have played quarterback and done a lot of things. And Colton was a guy that obviously Mr. Gilley would have loved to have met because he portrayed, obviously, class and integrity and character. And so definitely wanted Colton to come here with me and see what this award's about. But very, very humbled to be associated with his name for sure.
Jay, we appreciate a lot of what the high school coaches do and kind of the work ethic that's installed in the foundations of those programs. But a lot of it starts with these middle school feeder programs, and I have to think that you all have to take some time now to go about teaching things, and that includes some sportsmanship and how we're going to conduct ourselves. So maybe some things that didn't get touched on as much 20 years ago. Is that true to say?
Right. Yeah, because I've been there 31 years now. I've been the head coach 20-something. I can't keep up with it. And one of my goals has always been to do whatever we could to help get our guys ready for high school football. And one of the things is I first give a lot of credit, number one, to our kids. They buy into what we're trying to do and what we're trying to teach and instill. And then I've got some incredible assistant coaches, and I don't even like to call them assistant coaches because I tell them you're the head coach of whatever position you coach. That you're the head coach of that spot. And those guys make me look really good because head coaches get way too much credit, I can tell you that, but sometimes they might get a little bit too much on the other end too. But seen a lot of things change over the years with preparation and time and planning. And something we've been doing for probably close to 20 years is we do a year-round weightlifting program. We do summer conditioning. The high school does like 4 days of conditioning in the summer a week. We do 3. So we try to do a lot of things to just get them used to what they're going to see at Maryville High School. And what's special to me, a lot of those coaches at Maryville High School, I was blessed to be a part of their lives and coach them. Derek Hunt played quarterback for us and defensive back, and so it's just it's a lot of fun to see those guys flourish and get to talk with those guys and say, hey, what can we do, to help you all? What's something that we can do to get our guys ready for you?
And I'm going to touch a little bit on Greenback, but I always like to see, especially from the officials, y'all can pitch on this if you want, but, there's a different environment in single A than there is in 6A, and there are different venues you go to in single A than you do in 6A, and some of those byways are not exactly as accommodating as some of the others, and you have to deal with a lot that may get under a lot of the radars. But Greenback's done a really good job in some tough situations over the years. I mean, there's been power outages, and there's been games delayed, and there's been games that started a day later. The kids just seem resilient and be willing to take what comes along, and they're not going to let it get to them. Is that kind of true?
Yeah, I think so. I think, it goes back to the root of things. The kids, they love football. And, if in this area, if you hear Greenback, you think of Greenback football. And that goes all the way back to Bill Satterfield and the years that he was there. And I think, they sell out for it. And whatever happens, you mentioned that game that started the next day. I thought about that one because I was there that night. And weather and everything pushed it back. And so the coaches got together and said, okay, we're going to start it up again tomorrow. and so that's unusual. That's unusual.
And our great presenters here, and good job again this year doing these presentations, because you're presenting awards of people who mean a lot to this community and mean a lot to you guys as well. But I'm going to give you a chance to make a pitch here, because we've been talking about this off and on this show, and it's beginning to get attention. Y'all need some help.
Yes, sir.
It's getting hard to get officials, and it's
Yes,
getting
sir.
hard, judging by the standards outside of Blount County officials, to get good officials. I'm not going to. You all do a really good job, and I think some of our coaches don't appreciate just how high a bar you all set. But you all could use some help. And how do you recruit? Do you look at some of the athletes that are playing now and say, hey, and when you get out of college, come back and talk to us?
Yes, sir. And we also have a website, bcfoa-tn.com, that I create. That's my first ever website, so I think I did an okay job. But it has a link on there to become official, and they can anybody that's interested can put their information there and send it. I get the email. I'm also the scrimmage coordinator. Get them out there in the spring. You know what? It might not be for them, but it might be for them. It doesn't cost them a thing. There's no commitment with that. They can try it, and maybe it works for them, and maybe it doesn't. But a lot of our networking we'll do. It will be with the high schools. We'll talk to these guys and see. Of course, we've got some that played at Maryville College. We kind of opened up that little network of guys that live around here still, and got some great officials like that. I mean, just wherever we go, we just kind of spread the word. Mr. Coulter, our supervisor, is picky. He's going to tell you we don't have any guys that are not good guys first. He said if they're not, they won't be around long. I believe you guys could hear those words coming out of Kenny Coulter's mouth.
I can see those. I think I've actually seen them firsthand.
Yeah. Yes. And so when we have our meetings, we like to get together and kid around a lot and all. But there's a lot of, I like to think a lot of integrity in the room, a lot of experience in the room. I remember when I first started with Benny here. So and now I get to referee a little bit, and Benny's come out and watched me, and I hope to be half of what he was at some point there, and so you kind of move up, and then it's the best part-time job you'll ever get, because if you can't work that day, you close it out on the schedule and you don't get fired. Make pretty good money doing it. I mean, you're not going to get rich doing it. It is an avocation and not a vocation. But make a little bit of money, make a whole lot more so in relationships that you build with your fellow officials, and connections that you make that may benefit you outside of football. Some of the best times I've ever had has been like with Benny in a car ride going to a playoff game to Lord only knows where, or when we help out around Crossville, Cookville, some of those small schools, and it makes us appreciate what we've got around here. The quality of football down there is not always what we see here, but you work those games just like you would work a state championship game, and if you don't have that mindset, you really don't need to be doing it. But anybody that's interested in that can go to that bcfoa-tn.com, put in their information. I'll reach out to them, have some scrimmages in the spring to get you out there. In the spring you don't have to buy anything for a scrimmage. It's real low key and all. Go out there and stand behind somebody. They'll tell you what you're doing. They'll let you work a play or two. And
that's where I was going. It's not like you're throwing somebody out there expecting them to know everything right off. You all do some training. You work with them.
We do.
And there's like study sessions to learn the rule books and how to do these things.
Yes, and people wouldn't believe what we do for pre-games. We get the game site. So as a referee, you reach out to the schools earlier in the week, and then you create a pre-game outline and timeline that you send to the schools. Rick, he's seen that stuff before from us, and then assign everybody a portion of the pregame. Then they have to go through and do case plays and the result of everything. It's more than just showing up, putting your stuff on, and going out there and working the ball game. If you've got any pride about you, it is for sure. And we've got a bunch of guys that are like that.
Well, we appreciate you all coming in, and we appreciate you presenting the awards on the show. We always enjoy having you. Congratulations to the award winners, both Maryville and to Greenback. Well-earned awards. And Donnie's giving me the signal. I think we got to turn the page and get on out of here, Mike.
Yeah, but before we get out of here, what a perfect Saturday for you guys to be here, Benny, you and Jerry and everybody else, because we just had a spirited discussion on this show about being up 59-24 and whether you go ahead and score or take a knee. So it was a matter of sportsmanship. Class or whatever, do you take the knee if you're given a sportsmanship reward, or you just try to score some more points right there?
Right now, everybody's scoring more points.
It's all about style, right? Got to have the style.
Okay.
I've been doing this for 55 years, so there's got to be something that people can get out of it.
Yeah.
If I've been hanging around that long.
Yeah. Okay, well, it's good to have all of you here this morning. Congratulations
Thank you
to
for having
both
us.
schools, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next year. Yeah.
I may pass it to Jerry.
He's going to be here as long as I can get him out here. Trust me.
Yeah. Hey, we'll take a time out here, and when we return, Daily Times sports editor Troy Provo Herons presents the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segment. You're listening to the Goatee Sports Page, Blount County Sports Voice, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month.
Your newspaper? That's right. The Daily Times is your newspaper, tailored to where you live, emphasizing the things that affect you and keeping track of the people and players in our community. The award-winning Daily Times can be delivered each morning right to your door or inbox with the latest in local news and sports. For a 30-day free trial offer, call 981-1100 and begin enjoying your life, your times, every day with the Daily Times.
Dunkin' has what you need to conquer the day. So if you want to go from, I don't got this, to, I got this, well, then get this. A bold, smooth espresso drink from Dunkin'. Like a layered velvety caramel macchiato, a rich chocolatey mocha latte, or a creamy non-dairy oat milk latte. Because this day isn't going to conquer itself. No, you're going to do that. Take a sip of You Got This with Dunkin' Espresso drinks. Order ahead on the app plus earn rewards. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary.
For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensontire.net. Waters Equipment is your East Tennessee New Holland agriculture and construction dealer. Waters Equipment has been serving Blount County for 48 years and has 2 locations in Maryville for sales and service for New Holland equipment. Offering shop and field service for trucks and equipment of all brands, Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000 for your rental needs. That's 238-9000. Waters Equipment New Holland. Excellence in service.
Since 1925, Anderson Lumber in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. But did you know Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store? You can stop in anytime and see our incredible kitchen showroom. From floors to cabinets and everything in between, Anderson Lumber's experts can help you design your dream kitchen. And then our install team will make it a reality.
Wow.
For anything home, we welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber, since 1925.
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segment featuring Troy Provo Heron of the Daily Times. Troy, we'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, we're joined by the Maryville College football Scots, head coach Ben Fox, freshman quarterback Bryson Rollins, and linebacker Tyler Boston. Coach, I want to start with 25-22 win over Belhaven. Y'all were so close to so many signature wins all year, whether it be against Barry, Shenandoah, Huntingdon, to finally get one against a team that was receiving votes in the coaches poll. Just how big of a moment was that for this program?
Yeah, I think it really showed proof of concept that the things that we were doing and the things that we were harping on and the things that we believe in and core values work. That was a really, really good football team. They were very big and very physical, had played really well all year, and I think it really is a testament to the players that they kept believing and kept working really hard and believed in what we were doing. And then, you know, it came down to where, man, are we going to make the plays that we got to do? And we had some guys make some really special plays at the end of the game against good teams, and I think has given us a real shot of momentum as we've done our exit interviews for this week and guys heading into, you know, finals, and just really excited about getting ready to get going and what this team could become.
Tyler, Coach mentioned some big plays. Will you end the game with back-to-back sacks to kind of make sure y'all win it? Just how good of a feeling was that just to get those two plays in and win it?
Honestly, amazing. Like you said, ending the year off right with two great back-to-back plays. Obviously, it wasn't just me. We had great coverage, which gave me the time to get back there. Our coach ran a blitz that I was actually audible to run off the edge, so it wasn't even my design blitz, but we ran it perfectly, and it felt great to actually be on the other side of winning a game for once.
Specifically for that defense, we all look at those Barry and Shenandoah games, had an opportunity as a defense to kind of either force overtime or seal a win and weren't able to do it. How did y'all make sure that kind of didn't enter your mind against Belhaven at the end there, and just kind of finding a way to finish it off like you weren't able to do the first two times y'all had an opportunity to?
We don't really want to think about the close losses. Just make sure that we focus on what play we're on right now. That's a very big part of our defense, is just one play at a time, making sure that, you know, we're doing our assignments every single play. Our defensive coordinator tells us at the beginning of every play, whatever play he's calling, that we run through our minds what we're supposed to do, so we don't have those mental breaks that happen in those other games. Plus, we're still a really young team on defense. We're not losing anybody. So I think just as the year went on, we had more experience and was able to just keep our heads level, so we were able to make the final plays in that game.
Bryson, it's also a really young offense, and something Coach has talked a lot to me about is the fact that he's recruited a lot of players from winning programs. You yourself played in 3 state championship games. Just as a young team with guys who really only know winning at the high school level, how did y'all kind of manage to keep your heads up high when y'all were kind of handling those tough losses?
Yeah, you know, me and a lot of the guys just sat down and talked, and we just felt like we were in a slump those first 4 games. And we just knew if we just kept to it and just kept working hard and just doing what we had to do, then it would be all right. And I think that's the case. So I think we got a lot of momentum going into the spring, and if we can just commit to that and just get better as a team.
Ben, 4-6 last year, 5-5 this year. It's a slight improvement in terms of wins and losses, but I think anybody who watched y'all this year would say that y'all are a much, much, much better football team than you were a year ago. Just how do you feel about the program heading into the offseason?
You know, we talked about this a lot. I think last year we lost 6 games by a total of 135 points. Mm-hmm. So when we lost, sometimes we lost spectacularly. This year we lost 5 by 35.
Yeah.
When you look at how many more points we outscored our opponents it really is almost hard to be a 500 team with the point differential and the way that we played. But I think the win, you know, it's hard for kids, for players to understand, like, man, we lost these games by a lot closer than we did last year. That doesn't do anything for them, right? That does nothing for them. And quite frankly, for me or the coaches, it really doesn't do anything. So winning this last game, getting to 500, so now this is like on paper improvement with the softer skills that you may see and see all this other levels of improvement, but we can see tangible improvement. And now I think it's really set up for we can show growth when we're out recruiting, this is where we started. We played a lot of these young guys. We have some old guys that really stepped up, and guys had new roles, and this is where it is. And, we bring back all 11 starters on defense. We got most of our starters back on offense, and some really dynamic special players. And what could it really look like if we inject another really quality class like we just had, of what that could be like, what it could look like.
Obviously, one of the reasons why y'all kind of improved so much is the guy sitting to your left playing quarterback.
Yeah.
Offensive Rookie of the Year in the conference. Just what can you say about Bryson and kind of maybe the shot of energy he gave this team this year?
We say it all the time. When you got a shooter, you got a chance, right? When you got a quarterback, you got a chance. And I think when we scrimmaged Lindsey Wilson and he got to run around and play, and we went down and scored and against a really, really, really good team and made throws, and he hit a freshman receiver for a touchdown. And I think it really gave a shot of life to everybody on the team. They're like, okay, this one's different. And then it was, okay, how do we manage expectations? How do we put him in positions to be successful, do the things that he does well? But for me, he exceeded every level of expectation I had. I had to tell him a lot and remind myself a lot. I've asked him to do more as a freshman at 18, and he handled more than any quarterback I've ever had. I've told you guys this. I've had some kids that I thought were All-Americans and Conference Players of the Year, and I had one I thought was the best player in the country. We didn't ask him to do what we asked Bryson to do. I did not. He didn't play. I had one that literally was an All-American as a senior, played one snap as a freshman. One singular snap he handed off inside zone at the end of a play. At the end of a game, we were up 60-7 or something, right? And so that's hard. I'm really proud of him with how he handled his schoolwork. He's a Bonner Scholar, and he does all this volunteer hours in the community. I mean, he's got a full plate, a busy plate, and the way that he handled it and stayed the same every day and came to work every day was really, really, really impressive. And I think all of his teammates saw that too. And so it was a big part of it. Now I will say this, and you and I have talked about this before. A lot of the plays that the young guys got to make don't get to happen without some real contributions from some older kids that have been through some really hard times and stayed and got better and improved, right? And I think about, I'm really happy for a kid like Jace Britton who started every game he's played here and seen the bottom. I mean, seen it at the bottom out. And for him, his last game potentially to be a win against a team that was getting a regionally ranked opponent, which is the first time we've had a road win against a regionally ranked opponent, probably in 20 years.
Yeah,
just because we don't play very many of them, right? And, I mean, that was a big deal and a big win, and I'm really happy for him and for those kids and for our young players, but especially older guys that have been around and deserve something to be, that they can be proud of. I'm really happy for them.
Bryson, one of the things that stood out to me from the first game I watched you was just the moment doesn't seem too big for you. And Coach mentions how much he put on your plate this year as a freshman, but really Elizabeth did that to you for 4 years as a starting quarterback. Just how prepared did you feel being named a starting quarterback, and kind of how do you handle the pressure of your coach giving you so much?
Yeah, just being quarterback at Elizabeth, and it comes with a big cost, and that's a high-level team that I played for, and just knowing that we were just at the best of the best in high school, and then just translating that over, and really just staying calm and not getting too heated or anything, and I think a lot of guys look at me as like the calmer. They know I'm not gonna go out my way and hype everybody up, but at the same time they know that they can look up to me and look at me as like somebody who's going to go make plays, and that's just what I try to do this year. And I told Jace mainly, I was like, yeah, this ain't the best season that you've had or whatever, but I really want you to go out with the win if you don't come back, and because I respect him a lot, and he was the main guy on that offensive line, and just knowing that and just sending him off with that is just something that I really wanted to accomplish. So,
Tyler, I want to talk about this defense because, like we mentioned, a few hiccups at end of games, but you look at how y'all finished the year with a young secondary. It kind of seemed like it got better every week, and all y'all stuff, just as a defense as a whole, just kind of what was it like to watch the progression of this defense as it got better and better each week?
It was really fun. Every single week at practice, we've seen more locked in. Have more guys showing up to film, making sure that we were understanding what formations they run and like what plays they run out of each formation. So seeing all the young guys step up in a big way. For example, linebacker play next to Devon White. He stepped up in a big way this year, first year starting. Wasn't even on the travel squad last year. And just guys like that really stepped up in a big way and just listened to our coaches, listened to me when I was out there, just making sure we were lined up right. It was really fun seeing all of them progress. Love all my teammates and wouldn't want to go out there with anyone else. I tell them that every week. Really enjoy playing defense with them.
I did want to ask you about that linebacking core specifically on the defense, because obviously you lose Caden Harbin from last year, you lose Bo Herring. Just as a group, what was y'all's mentality having to replace guys like that who meant so much to this program a year ago?
Just had to step up. I was coming in with the most experience, and I don't think I started a game. This was my first year starting, so I came in with the most experience backing them up. Everyone else was either a freshman or had never traveled before, like I said. So having to replace those guys is huge. They were mentors to me. I loved all of them to death. But like I said, we just had to step up, and I think we did pretty well. Me and Vaughn both led the team in tackles. Jamarcus Dunn at the very beginning of the year towards ACL, so that was a really hard loss. But we had Roy Barrett step up, and he played great for us at the outside linebacker position. So I think everyone really played well, and we all worked really well together, especially communicating as the year went on.
Coach, we talked a lot about this being a young team. What do you think the benefit is that you've played so many young guys are, and how much do you think that sets this program up for the future going forward?
Yeah, to me, the biggest thing is that they now have game experience, right? There is no replication, and you can't simulate what the speed of a college football game is until you go play a college football game, especially when you play against good teams. So not only have they played in college football games, we played a really challenging schedule. We played 3 teams that finished the year regionally ranked, or were regionally ranked at one point. 2 other teams that finished with winning records, and I think it was really competitive. And so I think for our team, they now know what the expectation is, how hard they have to work, and what it looks like. They also, the guys that are coming back that maybe are sophomores, juniors, right now heading into their juniors, junior and senior seasons, know how hard we worked last year. And that was how much improvement that showed. So we do that again, what will we look like? And I think it hopefully will make them really hungry for an opportunity to really, really, really grow.
Well, the Scots were picked 6th in the USA South in the preseason. They finished tied for 2nd. Guys, we want to congratulate y'all on a great season. I know the program's in good hands with all of y'all, and thank you for getting up this morning and coming to talk with us.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for having us.
Back to you, Mike.
Okay. Troy, thanks a lot. It's time for a break, and when we return, it's Sports Headlines with Donnie Moore and the Tennessee Smoky Spotlight. You're listening to the Goatee Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
We all want our loved ones to be safe. Denso in Maryville is at the forefront of creating technology for safer vehicles. Join the automotive industry with Denso in a fast, challenging, clean, and safe environment. They offer great benefits and competitive pay, as well as a convenient on-site healthcare facility, cafes, fitness center, and more. Start your future now. Entry-level production positions start at $16 an hour for 2nd or 3rd shift. Visit densocareers.com/Maryville to learn more and apply. Merlin's Music World in Maryville is owned and operated by Dylan Davis and has been a fixture in Maryville since 1987. Guitars, amplifiers, lessons, sound system, and video system installations are products available at Merlin's. Merlin's also offers a 24-track digital recording studio featuring audio engineer Rusty Chambers. Visit Merlin's at 1920 East Lamar Alexander Parkway or call 977-0093.
This holiday season, we're grateful for another year of helping you, our members, grow financially. Thank you for choosing us. and for allowing us to serve you and help you live better lives. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from all of us at Knoxville TBA Employees Credit Union. We look forward to serving you in 2023.
Knoxville TVA Employees Credit Union. Join us now.
Federally insured by NCUA.
The Blue Tick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Or sink your teeth into our one-of-a-kind chicken and bacon pizza, made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon, red onions, and covered in Brussels petals. The Blue Tick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Blue Tick Tavern, located at 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville. Waters Equipment is your East Tennessee New Holland agriculture and construction dealer. Waters Equipment has been serving Blount County for 48 years and has 2 locations in Maryville for sales and service for New Holland equipment. Offering shop and field service for trucks and equipment of all brands, Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000 for your rental needs. That's 238-9000. Waters Equipment New Holland. Excellence in service. For over 50.
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner. And here are this week's sports headlines with Donnie Moore. Donnie, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mike. Be better if I put my mic.
You're gonna figure. Donnie, you're gonna figure. Donnie's just been doing this a long time. He figured out the microphone.
We didn't catch you by surprise here. Okay.
Can't you tell? All right. Time for the sports headlines of the week. Well, guys, there are no more undefeated teams in the NFL as of this week. The Washington Commanders put an end to the Philadelphia Eagles' bid for an undefeated season on Monday Night Football with a 32-21 win.
What an embarrassing loss.
Go Dolphins.
72 Dolphins pop the champagne.
72, yes.
That's right. They're popping champagne this week.
They get back together and just celebrate whenever the undefeated team loses.
They
right?
do, yeah. When the undefeated teams fall, they love it. Running backs Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson combined for 130 yards and 2 TDs on the evening. And quarterback Taylor Henneke completed 17 passes on 29 attempts for 211 yards and added 10 more yards on the ground of his own. Wide receiver Terry McLaurin caught 8 of those passes for 128 yards, a 16 yards per catch average. The Eagles fall to 8-1 on the season, and Washington climbs to 5-5.
Go Commanders.
And has
has a chance to make the playoffs.
You didn't say go Commando, did you?
No.
Okay,
that's something totally different.
No, I was not talking to Ray. No.
We're not talking about the Bush daughters here.
Oh.
All right. But no, if you like, the Commanders have got, they've got a bye week coming up. They've got Jacksonville coming up. I mean, This is a team that could be 6-5 looking at the back stretch of the season.
Yeah.
With a schedule that's like, you may not get above Washington or Philly, but you're going to be in contention for a wild card.
Sure.
Possibly.
Yeah, it's possible that all 4 teams in the NFC East make the playoffs.
That's true.
It's possible.
Yeah, very true.
Well, listen to this item. Former Vol quarterback Quentin Dormady was recently listed as the backup quarterback on the Orlando Guardians roster. The Guardians, an XFL team getting ready for startup of its second season after the league shutdown early last season, is in hopes of making it through a complete season this year. Dormady played at Tennessee from 2015 to 2017, played at Houston in 2018, and at Central Michigan in 2019. He kind of bounced around like a ping pong ball.
Made the rounds.
Yeah, he did.
Yep.
He wasn't worth a dime. That's why.
No, he was the quarterback the last Butch year he started, and then it didn't go well. He wasn't worth a damn.
Okay.
He was a 5-star quarterback coming out of high school.
Yeah. Well, the Major
Didn't work.
Major League Baseball postseason awards were announced this week. The most valuable player was, anybody want to guess?
For the AL or the NL?
AL.
That was Aaron Judge, I believe.
Aaron Judge in a runaway from the Yankees.
Did he win it unanimously?
I think he did. He won. He had 62 homers, 131 RBIs, 391 total bases, and 133 runs.
If he did it,
if someone else gave it
if
to someone else, that
if he
person
didn't win the award unanimously, we need to find that person and beat him up.
No doubt. The National League MVP was Paul Goldschmidt from the Cardinals. Had a 317 batting average, 35 homers, and 115 RBIs. Pretty impressive.
Not bad.
Judge did not win it. Judge did not win it unanimously.
Well, who didn't vote for him? It wasn't you, was it?
No, I don't have a vote.
Oh.
Somebody voted for Shohei Ohtani instead.
Well, Ohtani was second.
Yeah.
Aren't
you on the voting committee?
I don't know. No, he should be.
I wish I was.
The Cy Young winners from the American League, Justin Verlander. Good choice.
Yep.
And from the National League, Sandy Alcantara from the Marlins. Yes.
Gets real good.
He is real good. The Rookie of the Year from the American League, Julio Rodriguez from the Mariners, and the National League, Michael Harris II, a Brave.
Atlanta Braves.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Very good.
Manager of the Year from the American League, Terry Francona from the Cleveland Guardians, and the National League, Buck Showalter of the New York Mets.
Very good.
There you go.
Yeah.
Both old timers. Been
Yes,
around
sir.
for a long time.
Been around the block a
That's
time or
right.
two. That's why they got Manager of the Year, because they know what they're doing. The Team Gold Glove Awards went to, from the American League, the New York Yanks, and from the National League, the St. Louis Cardinals.
Go Cardinals.
You got it, Tony. All right, moving on.
That was my team growing up, Cardinals.
Yeah, I knew it was. Ty Gibbs, grandson of NASCAR Hall of Famer and Pro Football Hall of Famer Joe Gibbs, will be an official driver for JGR next season, replacing two-time Cup champion Kyle Busch. Gibbs, I'll say that like they do on the commercial. Kyle Busch.
Crack a
That's
beer.
right. You let it spread it out a little bit.
Yes, sir. Gibbs will drive the number 54 Toyota Camry, the same number he raced with in the Xfinity Series in the 22 season. JGR says it intends to eventually bring back the number 18, which it debuted in 1992. A long time ago. They've had that number 18 for a long time, Mike.
Yeah. Very exciting.
Yeah. I can tell you're just brimming with excitement, Troy.
He's bubbling right now.
Vols offensive coordinator Alex Golish was nominated on Tuesday for the Broyles Award, Ray, given annually to the top assistant coach in college football. Golish, who also coaches Tennessee's tight ends, is one of 51 coaches nominated for the honor that dates back to 1996. The semifinalists will be announced on November 22nd, the finalists on November 29th, and the award winner on December 6th in Little Rock, Arkansas. The award is named for former University of Arkansas football coach and athletics director Frank Royal.
Should have been named the Trail Award.
You know him well, don't
Yeah.
Should have been the Ray Trail Award.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. I went to Arkansas, the Brawls, the second year.
Yes, sir.
I think he came in 58, and I came in 59.
Good deal.
Where was he before he came to Arkansas? Do you know?
Come on.
He was
There
an
you go.
assistant
Go,
coach
Troy.
somewhere.
I
He was
see.
not a head
I
coach.
see.
But he was a great coach. I'll tell you one thing.
Yeah,
he was,
you've told us
he-
many
he
times that he was.
He was the head coach at Missouri for 1 year before going to Arkansas.
Missouri.
Was he really?
He's so quick on that Google.
But I tell you what,
You're gonna
he
start
was-
calling you.
He was
Google.
also an assistant at Baylor, Florida, and Georgia Tech.
He
There you go.
was he was a great coach. I mean, he was the great organizer. Not a coach. He's the organizer. And
That's why he made a good AD.
Yeah, and he hired coaches that could coach.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't run them down
Did
the
he play?
field.
Did he play at Arkansas?
No, he played at Georgia Tech.
He was a
I
jacket.
believe
I
that's
was
right.
wondering why
Played
he
for
left.
Bobby Dodd.
I mean, so he was
Yeah.
at Missouri for 1 year, then
Yeah.
went to Arkansas. I wonder what the dynamics was for that. I guess was Arkansas felt was
He
a better
graduated.
program.
Nobody wants to coach at
He
Missouri.
graduated. Yeah.
That was what
No
happened.
kidding.
I coached at Missouri for 2 years. All right.
And
All
you
right,
don't
you
co-
ready to go?
and you
Ready
don't
to go?
and you don't coach there anymore.
That's right.
Yeah. You graduated too.
Yeah.
You left too.
I left.
Nobody
too.
wants
All
to.
right.
Nobody wants to coach in Missouri.
Get this. We've talked about not being in Buffalo. Here's why. The Cleveland at Buffalo game that was supposed to be held on tomorrow has been moved to Ford Field in Detroit due to, get this, 5.5 feet
of lake effect snow.
It's about as tall as me.
That's fallen in Buffalo, the Buffalo area.
All I know
this
is
week.
when this stuff happens,
I'd be right here.
Where is Al Gore? Oh, the global warming. You never see them during blizzards and things like that. They hide.
But it's still falling.
It's still falling.
It's still
But
coming
where is all
down.
this global warming
Lake
stuff?
effect snow.
Yeah, okay.
And what, everybody's talked about the NFL game, but the NCAA waited till yesterday to cancel the college football game that was going on up there.
Yeah. But that's,
Buffalo
I
was
want
supposed to
no
have-
part of lake effect snow.
The University of Buffalo was
That'd be a
supposed
fun
to be
football
hosting
game to
a
watch,
MAC
though.
game today.
You just see lines and draw in the sand.
Well, Notre Dame's got Boston College, and they had
some of them you
bulldozers
just see
out
the
on the
top
field
of their
grilling the
head.
snow. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's it for this week's sports headlines. Let's focus on the spotlight.
All right.
Back to you, Gunner.
All right. We're back with former Tennessee football coach Ray Trail, Daily Times sports editor Troy Provo-Heron, and veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons. Tony Iruli, assistant football coach at Carson Newman, is also with us. Woo! Tennessee has got South Carolina today in Columbia, South Carolina. The Gamecocks lost to Florida 38-6 last Saturday in Gainesville. South Carolina is 6-4 overall, 3-4 in the SEC, and they're currently record-wise tied with Florida and Kentucky for third in the Southeastern Conference East. Tony Iruli, I was hoping that, going into this game that South Carolina would be 8-2, but they've lost 2 of their last 3 games.
Right.
But they're 6-4. Before I ask you if Tennessee's going to put up 50 points, because I know what Troy's answer is going to be to that. Tennessee is averaging 29 points a game on the road this year. South Carolina is only giving up 23 on the average at home. You seeing 50 today for the Vols and another blowout like we saw against Missouri?
Yeah, I don't see 50, but I see in the 40s. I think South Carolina was playing some pretty good football. They had a big win against Texas A&M maybe about 2-3 weeks ago, and they felt like they had turned the corner. But the last 2 weeks, they've really kind of fallen off. They didn't play very well against Florida.
Lost to Kentucky, I think, and Missouri.
Kentucky, yeah, so I think they're struggling right now. So I think Tennessee's going to go down there. It's kind of a tough place to play, but I think they'll still have a pretty successful day against them.
Vegas has Tennessee at 44.5 points.
Favorite?
No. That's what their team total
okay,
is. How many
team
points I
total.
think Tennessee
Okay.
will score.
Yeah. Coach Trail, it's going to be cold over in Columbia.
It's cold everywhere.
It's going to be 28 degrees or so over there. We're throwing the ball. We're throwing it well. We got excellent receivers, cold weather, and footballs. Tell us how that goes together.
Well, if you're really into it, it don't matter. You go do your thing. The only thing that really concerns me is our offensive line is not as good as our offensive line is not as good as our offense, really. I mean, what I mean by is they're hard to have a good running game with them. We do pretty good throwing the quick pass and stuff like that. But cold weather changes a lot of things. I mean, when you're out there playing and particularly throwing the ball, that ball gets hard as a brick. And, I think Tennessee will win the game. But it'll be nice and cool there.
Yeah.
They shouldn't get tired. You shouldn't have to run out there with the water bucket.
Troy, I think my big, and I'm going to jump on your bandwagon a little bit here. You'll be proud of me. I think the big question tonight with that weather and with Tennessee in there is just how early the Gamecock fans are going to exit the stadium, as cold as it is.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting to see. Is that a fair assessment or not?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Mike, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know why. Something tells me that tonight Shane Beamer goes out there and he thinks that, I got this former 5-star quarterback. I'm going to try and match him toe for toe. We're going to go Hendon Hooker versus Spencer Rattler. And I don't know why I feel that way, but if that is the way Shane Beamer views this game, South Carolina's going to get beat by 60 points. I've said it all year. Spencer Rattler's not good. He's been horrible this year. He's been worse than I thought he would be. And if South Carolina thinks that their quarterback can go toe-to-toe with Tennessee's quarterback today, it is going to be a bloodbath.
All right.
Ugly.
Well, let me throw some statistics out there for you, Marcus.
Oh, good. Numbers.
Go.
Spencer Rattler on the run, 21 yards all year on the run. Passing attack, 9th in the SEC. Rushing quarterback, 13th in the SEC. Stopping the run, 11th in the SEC. Coverage in the secondary, 6th in the SEC. So with those stats, we're getting down to the start of the game. What's the crowd factor? Because that's who Tennessee's playing right there tonight.
South Carolina has
really good on special
their
teams.
fans have always had a
Beamer
special
Ball.
place
Yeah.
for hating Tennessee. And we have seen good Tennessee teams go to South Carolina and struggle and come away with 6, 7 3-point wins when they were favored by 3 touchdowns. Troy may think that this is going to be a bloodbath.
Bloodbath. Don't be ugly.
I'm not sold Tennessee's secondary has reformed enough that they cannot make this his season high game. I mean, we saw what Florida did. You can make a highlight reel out of Tennessee secondary if you're good enough. I'm not convinced it's a 60-point win. I'm not convinced this isn't being set up for his game of the year and South Carolina's moral victory of the year to close out, because they're not going to. I don't think they're going to beat Tennessee, and they're certainly not going to beat Clemson, but they can close out with two good showings that they can feel good about.
It's amazing how Rattler's really fallen off the last 2 years, because if you remember, 2 years ago was last year over at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they were talking about Heisman potential right there.
Yeah, but he's a case of he should have like a little poster, and coaches should make a video saying, when you're going to transfer, you better know where you're going and why, because if you're
transfer with a purpose.
Because if he is the case in point of, I'm a good quarterback and I look good behind this offensive line, but you put me in this system behind this offensive
I
line.
don't know how true that is.
Yeah.
I mean, he got benched last year. He wasn't very good at Oklahoma last year.
Yeah.
And that's Oklahoma. They don't have bad offensive lines.
So,
He has
so
stunk
would
his
it
entire
have been
college
better
career.
for him to stay at Oklahoma or better for him to transfer?
It would have been better for him to transfer to you guys at Carson Newman. Maybe then he'd be good.
Hey,
he can't play at the FBS level.
I had South Carolina. I think I mentioned Missouri, but they had lost to two of the last three were to Kentucky and Florida, and then of course they beat Vanderbilt on the road. So that's where they're. I want to mention their special teams. They are good in special teams.
Yeah,
we'll give them credit for that. But they got a tough haul tonight. I guess we're going to see.
Should be a lot of
we had a
punting
heated
going on
discussion earlier in the show. I guess we'll get to see Coach Trail, whether we'll have another opportunity to take a knee tonight down there at the end of the football game.
There you go.
We'll look forward to seeing what happens
Well,
there.
I tell you
Hey,
what, it being cold like it is, you never know how the game is going to go. I mean, you'll have fumbles. You'll have
it could get a little.
stuff.
It could get a little raggedy
Yeah,
out there.
it really could.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
just depends on who fumbles the ball.
It drives me crazy listening to that music that they play all the time in South Carolina.
Oh, Sandstorm?
Yeah.
I love it.
Hey, let's
really,
talk.
it's not the rooster crowing call that comes over the loudspeakers every 30 seconds.
Yeah, or
that's the part that bothers you is the music.
Let's talk about the college football playoff rankings. It cleared up a little bit last week. Oregon lost to Washington there at home, and Mississippi lost to Alabama. So both of those teams have been eliminated, by all due respects, with 2 losses. But let's talk about where this is at right now. They've got Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and TCU in the top 4. Discussion there with TCU, Coach Trail. Most of the experts think that they have to win out, and they're in. You agree with that? That they could conceivably be 12-1, win the Big 12. Still have an argument, but most experts think they have to win out to be a top 4. What do you think?
Well, TCU is really an unknown oddity there. And I can't remember the last time TCU was rated number 4 in the country.
Right, it's been a while.
I can't even remember.
It's a great story.
Yeah, but they've had a great year.
Yeah.
And I kind of hope they do.
Yeah,
good.
I think.
I hope they do good. Because I get tired of the same people. Just like every year we go, these 3 or 4 teams.
Yep.
They're always in the top.
They went out, they're in.
Yep.
They
Yeah.
finished
Yep.
12-1 with a conference championship. Then they're arguing.
Yeah.
They're
Right,
arguing their
right.
case. Okay,
Well,
let's look.
The question marks between Ohio State and Michigan.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean, Is that what you're going to? Or what?
Before we get to them, let's talk about Southern California at 9-1. The only hope left in the Pac-12. They have UCLA ranked 16th. Notre Dame's ranked in they're 18th, and they have Oregon left. That's also ranked. They have 3 ranked teams left. In all probability, they win out. That gives them 12-1 in the Pac-12. Are they in?
Probably.
I
would say so.
So if TCU wins out and Southern Cal wins out,
Tennessee's on the outside looking in.
They're on the outside looking
They're
in.
at
Is that
5.
what
I
you
just
said?
don't see USC being able to play those 3 and come away with 3
Oh,
wins.
no.
Well, they've got a. The only loss they got's the Utah, and that was like a 1 or 2 point loss, or they would be an undefeated team.
Utah ran
Look
the
at
ball
this
pretty
deal.
well against them. UCLA leans on its run game.
Plus, I
heavily.
think with
It's
the
gonna be tough for
national
them tonight.
voters, I mean, USC is not really that highly respected.
Yeah, but I like their coach out there, and if you win the championship, you lose 1 game, and you've only lost the regular season game by a pretty good Utah team that's ranked 10th. There's some argument there for you. Clemson and North Carolina. Clemson and North Carolina, one of those teams could finish 12-1 and be the champion of the ACC conference. Let's say it's Clemson, Tony, 12-1, win the ACC. Are they got a chance of being in, or they're just going to be they're going to be arguing?
Yeah, as much as I'd love to see them go in, I just think they're just going to be on the outside looking in.
They're going to be arguing their case.
Yeah,
they're going to be one of those teams that's we could have a few of those arguing their case before it's all over with.
The ACC hasn't beat anybody this year.
Yeah.
Their non-conference schedule, I mean, basically you're looking at Tennessee beat Pittsburgh. I mean, who else did the ACC really play non-conference-wise to claim as a win that the conference was worth something?
Yeah.
See, right now, Tennessee's number 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just think it's all going to come down to what happens between Michigan and Ohio State.
Well, okay, let's talk about Michigan and Ohio State. Now you got your Heisman boy up there, Stroud. At Ohio State, everybody's kind of hoping we see him in the playoffs, or they see them in the playoffs. They're playing in Columbus.
Yeah.
They put up a lot of points. Then you got a great Michigan team, a defensive team on the other side of the ball, and a great running back. And I think Corum is their running back there. So they can grind out some yards, control the football, maybe play some good defense. And Coach Trail, they could come out of the deal, but regardless of who comes out, the winner's going to probably have Purdue in the Big Ten championship game, and that's probably going to be a gimme.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have either Ohio State at Michigan at 11-1 arguing whether they need to be in or not. And that's going to happen.
I think if
they're going to
it's
be
like,
arguing
I
with
think
a bad
if it's
argument.
I think if it's a real close game, like a 1-point win or 2-point win, I think there's a good chance they both stay in.
I don't.
I think.
I don't.
I think.
I don't.
I think that because they're basically – I'm not saying it helps Tennessee, but one of them will drop, and they're going to be making the same argument that Tennessee is making.
But
Tennessee with a lot more than
Tennessee with a lot more top
Tennessee
25 wins.
In arguing for them right now, they're ranked 2 and 3, and they've been ranked 2 and 3 for a long time. So if you have a close game, how far are you going to rank? How far are you going to drop them?
Yeah.
Apparently
in a
all
close
the way.
game when you've had them 2
to
and 3?
5.
Apparently to 5.
Well,
Tennessee was number 1 and lost to number 3, and they're 5 right now.
Well, they weren't number 1 in all the polls, just one.
But
poll.
they were number 1 in the one that matters.
But Tennessee was
They were
blown
just
out.
there for a week.
Yeah,
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. If he's saying 2 and 3,
They weren't there long enough.
These people have been there for the whole deal.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Tennessee's fault?
Yeah, I'm just saying that Tennessee got blown out by Georgia. I'm saying there's a
Yeah, they got blown
possibility
out. They got blew out.
If Michigan and Ohio State, if it's a 1-2 point game, I can see both of them still staying in. But anything more than that, then I see them going out and Tennessee moving up.
I could see Ohio State. Ohio State has a conversation if it loses to Michigan. If Michigan loses, they are done.
Yeah.
I'm got to go with that one because
They don't have
have
a
the
terrible
quality wins.
resume.
So
An
if you
absolutely
present the
terrible
argument
resume.
that we couldn't get to the championship game because we were playing a top 3 team,
Tennessee has
that's
the
the
exact
same
one.
argument
And
Tennessee
has
has.
4 more
and
top
they have the
25
quality
wins.
Okay, you're going to have. Okay, if that's the case. Well, I
got Troy and Marcus both against me, man. Holy
they're
smokes.
brothers.
There
They're
you
brothers.
go.
They've become brothers.
Oh,
They've become
no.
brothers.
Help.
They're brothers on the show now. They
Mike, those
agree
are
with
fighting
each other.
words now.
Anyhow, if that takes place, you're going to have one team out of the Big Ten that's going to be arguing. You're going to definitely have a team out of the ACC with one loss that's going to be arguing. Those are pretty well set deals, and you're going to have Tennessee with one loss that's going to be arguing. I think those are set in stone. I don't see how that's going to change because Clemson and North Carolina are going to play for the ACC championship. Both of them have got one loss.
Hey,
unless Southern California was
saying Miami can't beat Clemson today?
No, sorry.
I don't think so either.
If you're a Tennessee fan, you're rooting for Baylor today, and you're rooting for UCLA.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. You need to have some of those contenders eliminated.
All right, so we've pretty well covered the teams and the scenarios, for them to get in. Let's talk about LSU that could really mess this deal up. Let's say LSU wins out, and they somehow or another upset Georgia in the championship game with their defense or whatever. They've played a lot of close games and come out. LSU has, and they've improved. What happens now, Tony? What do we do with LSU?
It's the war of words.
Boy, I tell you what,
that's the tough one.
At 10-2 in an SEC championship.
I think somebody picks up the phone.
Come on, help me out on this, guys.
Somebody picks up the phone and says, that whole 12-team playoff thing we were talking about for a couple of years?
Now?
Can we go ahead and move that up?
Yeah, I think personally, I think that would put LSU in. I really do. I think they would jump Tennessee. But the argument, it's tough. You have Georgia, LSU, Tennessee. They could all say, hey, we beat each other. Yep. And granted on how LSU beats Georgia, which obviously would be the biggest win of those 3 wins, but, Tennessee blew the doors off of LSU, and obviously Georgia blew the doors off of Tennessee. That one's tough. And I think ultimately what might hurt LSU in the fact that, yes, you're SEC champion, but you lost twice. And that might be tough to swallow.
Who's their second loss against it?
Florida State, week 1.
Oh, yeah.
And so
right.
that's not a bad loss either. I don't think that's not something the committee wants. The committee might call ahead to Atlanta and say, hey, refs, LSU can't win this game. The fix has to be in.
Yeah.
And if that's the way it has to go, that's the way it has to go.
Well,
I don't see LSU beating Georgia anyway.
I see a lot of teams playing here, and unfortunately, Tennessee doesn't have to have the pressure of playing in a championship game. That's what everybody has said. I remember when Notre Dame had lost one game or they'd gone undefeated, and I know all of us was arguing around this table. Well, they don't play in a championship game. You can't put them in there. You can't put them in there if they don't play for a championship. Well, here we are. We got Tennessee with a team that doesn't have near the pressure of all these other teams that we've discussed here this morning.
Yep.
They're playing, and they're just sitting back and watching.
They're playing 2 losers.
You see?
Yep.
Win them, and you wait.
So
wait.
position-wise,
Watch out,
they're in the best place.
They are in the best
They're
position.
in the best place of everybody. But is it the fairest place? Because we've talked about it in the past. They don't have that pressure. You don't have that pressure of a championship game, see? So I don't know. The committee's got some work to do if this plays out like we've talked about this morning. There's a lot of scenarios still left, but we know that Oregon and Mississippi aren't part of that anymore after last week. It's time for a break, and when we return, the panel presents the Shelter Insurance Bold College Football Predictions. You're listening to the Goatee Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at StevensonTire.net. Your newspaper? That's right. The Daily Times is your newspaper, tailored to where you live, emphasizing the things that affect you and keeping track of the people and players in our community. The award-winning Daily Times can be delivered each morning right to your door or inbox with the latest in local news and sports. For a 30-day free trial offer, call 981-1100 and begin enjoying your life, your times, every day with the Daily Times.
Dunkin' has what you need to conquer the day. So if you want to go from, I don't got this, to, I got this, well, then get this. A bold, smooth espresso drink from Dunkin'. Like a layered velvety caramel macchiato, a rich chocolatey mocha latte, or a creamy non-dairy oat milk latte. Because this day isn't going to conquer itself. No, you're going to do that. Take a sip of You Got This with Dunkin' Espresso drinks. Order ahead on the app plus earn rewards. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month.
Anytime they win one game, they're hot.
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the panel's Shelter Insurance Bold College football predictions this week, so I'll turn it over to Troy Provo-Heron.
Yep, we're back. I have already informed Mike he is going first every pick this week because he is in the lead. And when we do this next year, the person who is in first place will always pick first. That way people can't follow the leader. So, Mike, you will be leading us off as our leader. You went 3-2 last week. You're sitting at 29-24 with a 3-game lead on the pack that is following you. Ray Trail and Marcus Fitzsimmons both went 3-2 last week and both sit at 26-27. Donnie Moore entered that second place tie with a 4-1 last week, and I fell into the hole that Marcus dug at the beginning of the year. 5 games back in last place. But I have back-to-back winning weeks, Tony. I've revised my strategy, and I'm finding wins. So I could have put my head down and just let the season come to an end.
But no, you are not a quitter.
I'm showing some grit.
That's right.
And I'm not dead. And I'm not dead yet. Darn it. Okay. We are going to start with number 7 USC, a 2.5-point favorite at number 16 UCLA in the Rose Bowl, which has about 18 people in it every Saturday. Mike Edwards, who you like?
I take Southern California.
Mike just doesn't want Tennessee to go to the playoff. I think that's what's happening here.
No, I just Southern California like their coach out there, and they got great tradition, and I know UCLA does too. But they're playing in the Rose Bowl. There's a lot on the line for Southern Cal. The only loss they had was that really tough heartbreaker at Utah. So I'm going to go with them.
Ray Trail.
Same.
USC. Marcus Fitzsimmons.
UCLA. I like that one. I think they've got a bounce back.
Donnie Moore.
I'm going to take the Bruins as well.
The Bruins. Tony Iruli.
I'll jump in. Okay.
Yeah, you're going to get a little guest pick action.
I am going to go, because of the home field advantage, USC.
UCLA is the home team.
Oh.
UCLA is the home team.
Still going to go USC.
Still going USC.
The away field advantage.
Visiting team advantage.
That's right.
USC gives up about 150 rushing yards per game. I think Charbonnet at UCLA and DTR get it done today and beat USC. So I'm going with UCLA. Another Tennessee playoff tie-in game. Number 4 TCU, a 2.5-point favorite at Baylor on the road.
I'll take Texas Christian.
See, Mike doesn't want Tennessee to make the playoff.
I don't like either one of these picks, by the way.
Ray Trail.
TCU.
TCU. Marcus Fitzsimmons.
Line's 2.5.
2.5.
I'll stay with TCU.
TCU. Donnie Moore.
I'm going with the Bears.
Wow. I really didn't think anybody would pick Baylor. I thought this was the easiest one.
Nope.
Tony,
I'm going Baylor.
Wow.
Yes.
Look, I don't know what Vegas did last week, making Texas a 7-point favorite. I appreciate them. Made a decent amount of money on that one. Thank you. But I am gonna stick with the Horned Frogs tonight. I just don't think Baylor has enough. And I know TCU's been battling the little close game jitters here, but I think that benefits them today on the road, and they take care of it.
If they get this game, they're at home next week. The Horned Frogs are, so they're going to be unbeaten going into that championship game. So Tennessee fans, I'm sure. That game starts at 12 o'clock today, by the way, so I'm sure there'll be a lot of Tennessee fans tuned into that. But
they'll probably still be horny then, too.
We're coming off the rails here. Number 10, Utah at number 12, Oregon. Oregon's a 3-point favorite in Eugene, Mike.
They're playing at home. I like Utah, but Oregon. Boy, they let me down bad last week. I'm picking Oregon today.
Mike loves to go back to the well.
I know that they want to make up for it, so they're going to. I'll take
Ray Trail.
I think I'm going to take.
It's a tough one. This is the hardest one of the week, I think.
That's a tough one.
Does Oregon have what it takes to bounce back? Tough loss last week to Washington. And is Bo Nix healthy?
I'll take Oregon.
He's taking Oregon. Marcus?
Oh, now I'm guessing myself because my strategy is usually to go opposite of Mike. I'm gonna go with the Ducks. I mean, they've got to have some bounce back in there, and I can't believe they're going to repeat some of the mistakes that cost them against Washington.
Yeah, I picked them last week, and they let me down, Mike. But I'm going to pick them again this week. I got the Ducks.
Tony Iruli.
I can't go with the team that has green feathers on their helmets. Sorry, I just can't do that. Utah usually plays tough on the road against good teams. I'm going with Utah.
Hey, look, I'm in no position to sit here and just pick the same games that Mike is in if I want to go for the win. So while I do not like this pick, nor do I really think in my heart I agree with it. I'm going with Utah tonight, just because I gotta come up in the standings somehow.
Yes.
I gotta find a way. Gotta find a way to differentiate myself from Mike. So I'm going with Utah. Number 14 Ole Miss looking to bounce back. They're a 2.5-point favorite at Arkansas, which pushed LSU to the very, very limit last week. Mike Edwards?
Yeah. Well, the scary part of my picks this week is Coach Trail's picked the same teams I have, so I'm really worried. I've liked Arkansas for several weeks, but boy, they just haven't produced for me at all. I've been disappointed in them. I'm going to go, and I know there's all this talk about Hollywood going to Auburn, coach there at Auburn, our coach at
Lane Kiffin.
Going to Auburn. I'm going to take Ole Miss. I'm going to take Ole Miss at Arkansas.
Ray Trail.
Hell, I got to pick Arkansas.
Why'd you even ask?
God, dang.
He's going with Arkansas. I mean,
you should have punched that thing in before.
I don't know. You've picked against Arkansas this year once.
Once.
Want to do it twice. Marcus.
I think it's going to come down to who can run the ball better, and so I'm going to go with Ole Miss because I just think they've got a little bit of edge on the run game than Arkansas.
Donnie Moore?
Is K.J. Jefferson playing?
I believe K.J. Jefferson is playing.
The line's down to 1.5 now.
Oh, we're moving toward Arkansas. People are liking the Hogs this week. People are liking the Hogs.
Be nice and cool up there in Fayetteville.
They're thinking Ole Miss is going to have that hangover, being out of the talk for the SEC West, and maybe not be able to put it, and the talk about Kiffin, and maybe they're just not ready to play.
Well, if you're thinking of this as your bowl game, then this is not what you want to be doing.
This is a tough one.
Is it an afternoon game or night game?
7:30.
7:30. It's going to be cold as bricks.
It is. Ray, I'm thinking the Hogs are going to pull an upset tonight.
Woo pig.
Me too.
Suey.
I think night game.
I don't know. Are they going to spray water on the field again like they did last Saturday?
They should. Smart. Genius. Icy mess. Again, I have to go against Mike here, but I actually think I believe this one a little bit more. I really liked the way Arkansas played last week. Played like a team that's not giving in on their season. It looked like a team that is buying into being spoiler and all that stuff. I know they don't have as much to play for. Ole Miss doesn't have as much to play for as LSU did last week. I'm taking the Hogs.
Good call.
And we are going to finish with me making fun of Shane Beamer and Spencer Rattler. Tennessee is a 21.5-point favorite at South Carolina. I did Mike and Donnie favors this week. I didn't put a Texas A&M game on the slate. I know how much they love picking A&M games. It's a lot of fun. And then watching them every week is even more fun. Mike fell asleep in the chair watching Texas A&M Auburn last week.
That was just awful.
So do some explaining. Tennessee's got to win by 22.
Tennessee has to win by 22.
The only thing that woke me up from that sleep
go 21
was Cadillac Williams after the game. How excited he was to Oh, he had his family down there and everybody else. I thought they were going to hire him right there on television.
Is he going to be the next head coach there?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Oh, he won't be.
He'll stay on, though.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to get rid of him. They
right.
love him down there, so they're not going to get rid of him.
The over-under is 66.5.
It is.
66.5.
Well, I think Tennessee's going to score 45. All right, Tennessee, 21.5-point favorite.
Tennessee. I mean, Florida beat them 38-6 last week, and I know Tennessee's only averaging 29 points, and South Carolina's giving up 23 on the average at home. But I
said that about Missouri last week too. Everybody
Yeah.
said Missouri's defense. Missouri's
and I was feeling pretty good
defense.
at 28-24. You know, they were staying right with them. The next thing I know, it's like, you know, should they take a knee or not? You know what I'm saying? They're up by 50. Tennessee.
Ray Trail, 21.5.
Yeah.
You've
I'll take Tennessee.
been hyping the Gamecocks up all day, though.
No, not. I watched them play last week. They ain't worth a crap.
No, they're not. They're very bad.
They have no reason to be cocky.
No. Marcus, he's picking South Carolina.
I am taking South Carolina because I have not picked Tennessee yet this season. So I'm going to go with that.
Why
again.
change now?
Holding true.
Donnie Moore.
Balls.
Tony.
Same thing. Tennessee.
I said it earlier. Say it again. South Carolina thinks Spencer Rattler can keep pace. We're in for a brutal awakening. That kid is horrible, and he can't get it done today.
Yeah.
He has 8 touchdowns, 9 interceptions on the year, and that disparity gets much worse.
He's always got Tennessee. You know, he's got 4 tough games, and then he puts Tennessee on there.
Well,
I can't wait till next. Can you wait till next week? I can't wait till next week. Troy's going to go. Tennessee at Vanderbilt.
Minus
Mike,
38.
It's 60.5. Are you taking Tennessee today? 60.5, Mike.
Well, that'll be a tough one. But we gotta pick the Tennessee. We gotta pick the Tennessee game. It's the local team.
Yeah.
People want to hear us talk about
I
it.
understand that.
Got to do it.
Why not?
Spencer Rattler stinks.
Why
He
not?
shows it tonight
Yeah.
on primetime television.
Okay.
Mike, you can send us home.
I tell you what, the team that stunk the worst last week was Kentucky.
Yeah.
God dang. I'm
They
telling
get Georgia
you.
today.
Huh?
They get Georgia today, and they'll stink it up even more. That's gonna be ugly and bad.
Hey, remember when we said that was going to be a challenging game for Georgia?
It's not.
Oh.
Yeah. Hey, that'll do it for today's edition of the Sports Page. Thanks to Aaron Ishmael at Loud Media, our host, the Blue Tick Tavern, and all our sponsors. For Donnie Moore, Ray Trail, Marcus Fitzsimmons, Troy Provo-Heron, and the Florida State Seminole Brian Johnston. Until next Saturday, this is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, wishing everyone good sports.
Got the whistle.
And that's the final whistle.
I don't like-
Join us
I
again
really
next
don't like-
Saturday for the Goatee Sports Page. The best in local sports since 1978.
One-loss teams if they was to win the Pac-12. I'm talking about teams that can still argue about one.